All right, hello and welcome to Show of Hands Hangout number something. I honestly lost track and didn't get a chance to go back and look at the numbers. Um, 60 something. I don't think we're to 70 yet. We have one completely new guest, two completely new guests, and two not so new guests. Um,
That's a nice way of saying old.
well,
So
I included myself in it.
I appreciate that.
I included myself in it. I think we're But I'll have everyone introduce yourself, say who you are on the app, what you'd like us to call you, and the longest road trip that you've ever been on. Um, we can start with you, Ron.
All right. My name's Ron, ronderman on the app. Call me Ron, or ronderman, or the old guy. Um, Longest road trip I've ever been on. I drove from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to Spokane, Washington. We left on a Saturday and got there on a Tuesday. So, um, 2 to 3 thousand miles ish, and it was a lot of fun. So that's the longest road trip.
Very cool.
Okay, you want to go?
Sure. Um, you guys can call me Scarlett. I'm with Ron here. The longest road trip I've ever been on, I honestly haven't been a lot of places in my life. Um, the longest road trip I've ever been on has probably been from Winston-Salem, North Carolina to Orlando, Florida.
Mm-hmm. And you've made
Yeah.
that trip 3 times.
Yes, I have. 3 separate times. So, yeah.
All right, how about you,
Um,
Sidwell?
I'm Sydwel on the app. You can call me Sydney. And the longest road trip I've ever been on be from Columbus, Ohio to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. We used to do that every year as a family. It's about a day and a half drive.
Where in the Outer Banks?
Um, I can't remember.
Somewhere with sand.
Yes.
For those who don't know, the Outer Banks is a chain of islands that's right off the coast of North Carolina, where Kitty Hawk is. That's where the first flight was, with the Wright brothers. Uh, and there's lots and lots of beautiful beaches out there. But it's if North Carolina gets hit by a hurricane, that's what gets hit by the hurricane first. So, beautiful set of beaches. If you haven't been down here, please do.
Very cool.
We'll be going to Emerald Isle, which is on the Outer Banks, in just a couple weeks.
Sounds really fun. It's been consistently warm enough here now to where the small lake across the street might be warm enough for kayaking. It, it was it was a weird winter, and it snowed into the beginning of May, so it was just one of those times. I am Firefly5 on the app. I am Guyton in real life, and the longest road trip I've been on uh, was probably from probably from roughly Ann Arbor, Michigan to West Palm Beach, in Florida,
Wow.
and it's, it's somewhere a little bit north of 20 hours, um, which we just kind of did all at once, and it worked out fine. I did that on that was how I got most of my driving time with my learner's permit. Was that drive and back, and and it was good. Um, since getting married, we've done a lot of road trips to upstate New York, but I don't think really any farther than that. Oh, except we did go to Hancock, Michigan, And despite staying in the same state, it was a longer drive than to Rochester, New York. It's the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is very wide, east-westy. It's a long drive. You can drive from where we are, and we're not in the southern tip or anything. You can drive from where we are for probably 11 hours and stay in Michigan without getting lost. So,
Oh, I bet I could still get lost, but
well, with getting lost, you can drive considerably longer.
oh, that's a true story. That's a true story.
All right, so we have a handful of questions, and I think we've got some from last time too still. So I'll look back at those if we start to run low. I'm a Nag says, what color was your cap and gown when you graduated, high school or college? Start with Scarlett.
Well, I actually today was actually my last day of middle school, so I cannot say that I have graduated college or high school. I've never worn a cap and gown.
No, that is not a true story. You
Oh,
you graduated from preschool.
I was in a daycare center, and they had this little graduation, and they made us wear these tiny cap and gown outfits. They were a nice royal blue.
But in their defense, you were tiny, so it's not like you were a normal sized person wearing a tiny cap and gown. They were an appropriate size.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to mislead anybody there. It wasn't like a rated R.
Yeah.
Cap and
It's
gown.
completely appropriate for a preschool.
Yeah, there you go.
How about you, Ron? What color were your?
Let's see. I graduated from high school. What was that? He froze on us. So no idea what she said. Hopefully he'll pop back in from time to time. But we'll go on. For high school, I think it was a dark blue. And I did not attend my college graduation. I assumed that I graduated because they gave me a diploma. But, I went to North Carolina State, and it would have been an all-day deal, as there were like 20,000 people in my class. So we didn't get to hear what Julie said. What did Julie say?
You want to repeat yourself? Yellow?
What?
You want to repeat your question for him?
Oh, I have to say I haven't gone back then.
Yeah, still can't understand it.
She asked if you had caps and gowns back then.
Oh, yes, we did. They were made out of paper though, because that's we didn't have good material. No. While you were rebooting, high school was a dark blue, and college I have no idea what they graduated in because I didn't walk. I graduated, but my cousin was getting married at the time of my graduation, and I said, thank God I don't have to sit through that graduation, and I went to his wedding.
It's a good way to do it.
Yep.
He missed he didn't walk in college. He graduated, but his cousin had a wedding, so he got to avoid graduation.
Oh, you're lucky.
Well done. Yes.
Yes.
Hey, you're up.
I wore purple in high school and blue in college. And my parents made me walk. I didn't want to.
Yeah, mine would have made me walk had we not had the wedding. So I have thanked my my cousin many times for that. The funny thing is, my wife was a marshal, so she actually went to my graduation and I didn't.
How come she didn't have to go to the wedding?
Well, hey, when you make straight A's, they make you an important person at the graduation. So I didn't make straight A's. I wasn't important.
There was a reason why I didn't do that.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
And Sydney, how about you?
I wore royal blue for high school graduation, and it was actually quite an ordeal because my year was the first time boys and girls were the same color. So it was actually like, I don't know, frustrating for some of the parents that we were breaking tradition. So there was a bit of an ordeal with all of that.
Okay, so years before it had been different colors. Why different colors? Just the different colors of the school?
Um, One was actually not a color of the school. I guess traditionally because boys went like a woodworking route and girls went a home ec route with classes. They separated them at some point. I don't know, but it stayed a tradition for quite some time, and then finally they decided it was just easier to have everyone be the same color.
Wow, I've never heard of that. That's pretty different.
Hmm.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that either. We had green in high school and blue in college, which I wouldn't have remembered had Julie not said something about it. We went to the same college, so that makes it easy. Um, and then I guess I'm graduating again um, very soon, and I think that's just black.
Hooded? You getting hooded?
Yeah, yeah. So there's that.
When you get your master's, they give you a fun hat.
He's about to get a fun hat.
Fun.
Now, question: are you going to get one of the the beret type hats that's all felt and everything, or are you just going to get a collar, or what are you going to get?
You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things that I probably don't have too much choice over. I really don't know, but I've been spending a lot more time focusing on trying to get the last of everything written up and submitted properly and whatever. So
Actually earning it instead of actually getting it. I gotcha.
yeah, I would rather focus on the getting it, and I would be willing to go. I would be willing to go shoe shopping to avoid having to finish all the paperwork. Um, Macho Matt says Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill fell back because she identifies as black, and went on Maury to prove he was the father. What are your thoughts on shows like the Maury Show and Jerry Springer Show? I don't actually know. Popovich?
Povich. Povich. I've not watched one in probably 20 years. That ought to give you my answer. They pretty much scraped the bottom of the barrel. Just I don't even know that you even know what they are, do you?
I don't know what they are. I don't. So.
They are a low rent talk show.
Oh. No clue.
Yeah. So
No clue.
I need to educate my daughter here about Maury Povich and Jerry Springer.
Okay.
So we're not in favor. How about that? That makes that easy.
That does make that easy.
I did really like the poem, Matt. So
Yeah, I don't really know anything about them. I've probably seen like 2 minutes of an episode once, but for the most part.
And I didn't know how to pronounce his last name. It's not my thing. Sydney, I wanted to ask you, because your name pops up on the bottom as Parapluie, why umbrella? Why are you umbrella girl?
I don't know. I mean, there wasn't a specific reason for it. I was looking for French words that sort of rhymed. So I just went with that.
Okay. Why French in particular?
I've been studying French since middle school and continuing to do so now in college, so it's the only other language besides English I've studied, so.
Very nice. Get Up Baby says Sydney's going to school in my hometown of St. Louis. uh, is it or is it not the greatest city in the world?
I really like St. Louis. I was surprised. I mean, I only visited once before deciding to go to school there, so I wasn't really familiar with the area. But it's very nice, and I'm from Columbus, Ohio originally, and it's just, I don't know, there's a lot more culture in St. Louis, which I appreciate.
Now that's where I guess I'll just answer my question. That's where the St. Louis Arch is, right?
Yes.
Okay. On my road trip that I previously mentioned, I drove through St. Louis at 3 a.m. and saw the Arch. That's my entire experience with St. Louis.
I've flown over it.
While I was there.
I've flown over it, but it was on a flight from Detroit to LA, so it's not like we were low enough to see a difference between St. Louis and clouds. Let's see. Do you like going to music festivals?
I don't know if I've ever been to a music festival.
No?
I love barbecue festivals that have music, but I don't know that I've been to a strictly music festival.
Yeah, I have not been to a musical festival either.
Nope, I don't think I have either. Man, these questions just are going so well.
Yeah, sorry, Aveg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just wait. The next one's not going to go well for me either because I don't know any city in London. I mean, any city in England other than London.
Well, then this one is a question specifically for Scarlett and no one else.
What?
If you were
Um,
offered If you were offered an all expenses paid visit to any UK city other than London, where would you go? We'll say it's you and your closest two friends. You don't have to bring parents.
Um, I would probably go somewhere near the beach because I honestly have. I've heard of. I read about a place called Piccadilly in London, and I heard that that's not a nice place, so I don't want to visit it. And the other city that I know is London, so I don't know any other cities that I would particularly like to go to in England right now.
I would probably like to visit some type of World War II memorial or something. I don't think there were any concentration camps in England.
There were not.
Um,
The Germans didn't get that far. There were only the Germans only got to places like Sweden and some were in Poland.
she's quite well read on the subject, so.
He got it.
But I would. I would love to go, but London's pretty much the big draw. So. How about you, Sydney? Do you know of anywhere in England you'd like to go?
I don't really know. Guess I need to study up on attractions in England.
I lived in Bath for 3 years, and that was nice. But I was young, so I don't know if it was, as nice as I remember it being. But either way,
Is that close to London?
it's north of, but north of. I was young, but as far as beaches go, just as a heads up, so you've got the North Sea.
Cold.
No, cold is not the issue. Go ahead.
Well, cold is another issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, the North Sea cold is the issue that I was going to mention. the North Sea from the north is colder than the North Sea is from the south, and because the North Sea comes between the UK and Belgium, and on the Belgium side of it, it's cold. It's really cold. Like people swim in it just because they'll swim in any amount of water that there is, but it's cold. Um, the UK side of it is probably not going to be the kind of beach that you're looking for.
Nope. Honestly, I would probably go to a beach to get a ship to go back home because
They have these like crazy machines now that go through the air that get
Yeah,
you back even faster.
Called airplanes.
yeah.
but most of those European beaches are topless. So,
I'm gonna stay close to London, somewhere around that area.
okay, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna say if you go farther north, it could be fun. Go to Liverpool. Um,
Liverpool, that's the city I want to go to. That'd be fun.
Oh,
There, that's a.
there.
See, we should have let you answer that first because you know what all the cities are.
oh, not all. I know a handful.
Well, I knew London, so that you knew more than I did.
Let's see. We have some from Jenna because thank you, Jenna. Um, she says, Sidwell, you're a competitive runner, correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, what do you run?
I'm a distance runner, but actually the past year, due to some like extended illness and injury, I have not raced, so hoping to get back to it in the fall season.
Okay. What kind of distance?
So I was a 2-miler in high school, and then college for track would be 5K or 10K.
Okay. What's your PR for
Um,
run?
so for the 2-mile would be about 11:40, and the mile was about 5:40.
Okay. Do you do you run too, Scarlett?
No, I sit and I do reruns of episodes.
Ah, you
That's as close
that's
to running as
again.
That and being late to class. So,
I know you have one parent who does run and one who runs less often.
yeah, as less often as possible. So,
So it could have gone either way. Um, well, like my wife and I both run, and our kids, my oldest very much wants to run, like all the time, and they've done like some 5Ks and stuff. Um, my youngest wants to run. My middle one's like, I don't care. We can do it. We can not do it. It's all the same to me. But I like that they give out medals and chocolate milk at the end, so that's good. Um, which is probably the appropriate response when you're 5.
yeah.
Um, I used to run in high school and stuff, but I didn't run any kind of actual distance. Like I did the 2 mile in middle school and the beginning of high school, but our team was very, very good. And so I ran my best one ever, um, and it was pretty respectable, and just fell over when I was done, and it was not enough to place. And I was like, I'm done with this distance.
Darn.
And that was I think I was it was more than 10:30 but less than 11. So it was a pretty solid speed. It was just not good enough.
Yeah, my personal record was in college for a 3 mile. You had to run it in 30 minutes to actually graduate. and I think I snuck in right under 30 minutes and then died right afterwards. So that's, and I vowed to never again run 3 miles, and so far I've pretty much kept to that.
How do you feel about requirements in schools to pass certain fitness, whatever? Like not about whether the school is, justified or legally allowed to, whatever. Just personal thoughts. How do you feel about it?
Well, at North Carolina State, where I went at the time, I don't know if it's still the case, but you had to prove that you could swim. And we're not talking a huge distance. We're like just from swim across the pool. You had to prove that you weren't going to drown. And then there was some basic fitness. Like I said, you were supposed to run a mile in a certain amount of time, or the 3 miles in a certain amount of time, just to pass that one course. But that one course is required to graduate. Honestly, I think our world would be better if kids today had that basic fitness. I think everyone should have the basic knowledge of how not to drown. I know my mom is 73 and she would drown. If she got stuck in water, she would depend on someone else to get her out. So I think I'm in favor of it, at least for the basic.
Right.
Even though it killed me for that 3 miles, but
What do you think? Either one of you, Sydney. Why don't you go first on that one, or next?
My school has no sort of PE requirement or anything, but I think the swimming is a good one. I mean, I think that's a basic skill most people should have. So I guess I view it favorably if a school requires that.
Scarlett, what do you think?
I definitely think that school should. The swimming thing is a good point, because I honestly can't imagine not being able to swim from one end of the pool to the next. I was able to swim by the time I was like 4 or 5. So I think it's a good skill that people are probably it's a valuable skill. And
okay, but how about having to run 3 miles in a certain amount of time?
Honestly, you should be fit. Like, I'm not sure how. Well, honestly, I think it's up to the school. I would not be happy to run 3 miles in a certain amount of time, I can tell you that. But I think it's up to the school, personally, because it's their school. They teach the students what they want. Yeah.
There you go.
Did we have was phys ed required for us in college?
Yeah, I'm going to get soccer class.
Yeah, I didn't remember if I had to or if I just took it. Oh yeah. Okay, so at our undergrad school, there was a PE requirement. It was 1 credit, and you could choose from a list of however many classes. It's, I think, fairly lax because things like soccer and like I took soccer, you could take swimming, but then you could also do bowling, which, no disrespect for bowling maybe, but it's probably not a good assessment of how fit one is.
I totally took bowling in college.
I
got a C. That's the bad part. I got a C in bowling.
Oh no.
I wasn't very good.
our phys ed classes were all just pass or fail. Um, but no, I thought it was actually great. I didn't think about it too much in terms of the requirement. I just thought, oh, I have to take one of these classes, you know, because you have to take a bunch of gen eds and you have to take a lot of whatever anyway. And I thought, I'm going to get credit for playing soccer for the summer, which I wanted to do anyway. Great.
Yeah, at my college, we had to have 4 PEs, and so I took the basic PE 100, where you had to qualify for everything, and then I took bowling, volleyball, and golf. And yeah, bowling was a struggle. I think you had to average 150 in order to get your C.
Oh, do you,
Yeah, I mean it was no joke. It was much harder than I expected it to be.
it's. I think bowling's just not much fun when you go with people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Bowling's fun when everyone's bad at it, you know? It's just as much about the chili cheese fries as it is about bowling. Uh, what is the first TV show you remember?
First TV show I remember was, I don't know if any of you even know who Jack Klugman is, but it was an old crime drama. Quincy was the name of it, and he was a medical examiner. And it was back in the 70s,
Yeah, you showed me that show.
I believe. Yeah, that was the first I remember. Other than Sesame Street.
I've watched Quincy.
Yeah, you have watched Quincy. Look at
I
you.
have. I've watched. Um, I used to watch like uh, old TV. I don't want to say old, but old TV at night, and it was. I wasn't good at sleeping in high school, and so I would. Yeah, I'm still not, but I wasn't then either. And I just watch old shows and watch movies and read and whatever. So,
I
yeah.
think first TV show I think I remember that was not like a kids TV show were the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys episodes. Glenn A. Larson did a bunch of shows in the 70s and 80s, and I don't know, at some point watched a bunch of those with my dad, the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, was not expecting Hardy Boys to come out of that. That came out of left field. Battlestar is classic, but
Mhm.
yeah, Sean Cassidy and Parker Stevens are resting under the rock of obscurity somewhere. So, wow, that is impressive, Sydney. That's all.
My mom has she has a Sean Cassidy record that appears in the basement from time to time. I like to give her grief about it.
Sad thing is, I could probably name a few of the songs on that album. So I'm just gonna sit over here and pretend like I don't even know what you're talking about.
Scarlett, what's the first show you remember?
Well, it would probably be Sesame Street or Dora. I did not watch these voluntarily. My mom put me in a high chair and sat me in front of the TV. But those were the earliest shows that I can remember.
You remember VeggieTales?
Yes, I remember VeggieTales. Yes.
You did a lot of VeggieTales.
There was a lot of VeggieTales in my early childhood. Yeah.
I had not heard of VeggieTales until after we were married, and I have three nephews and a niece who would watch VeggieTales, and that was how I learned about them. But there were some people that that Julie knew from growing up and stuff that we met through church who would sing songs from VeggieTales, and I had no idea what they were talking about. What's that?
I could sing a few of those songs as well. So
I didn't understand why like 12 different people knew a song about a hairbrush.
Oh, where is my hairbrush?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That we still make fun of that song.
it's really the best silly song from VeggieTales in my book.
It is.
I think the first show that I can remember. Oh, um, I watched some shows when I was a kid, but they were in Belgium and they were like local shows that I couldn't even tell you. Samson was the first one that I remember. It was about this big shaggy dog who could talk, and his owner, and they didn't do anything, but it was one of those kids shows. And I think after that, probably the first non-straight up kids show that I remember is Columbo.
Mm. Peter Falk.
But
Peter Falk. He was Columbo.
mhm.
Also played the grandfather on Princess Bride.
I love that movie.
So you know.
uh, do you enjoy peanut butter on toast?
I'd rather do jelly on toast, but I wouldn't turn peanut butter down. Of course, cookie butter on toast.
Yeah, we've been
Better than peanut
converted.
butter. So, if by chance you have any of that left, that's good to melt on the toast as well.
We've been completely converted. I agree with you. I I say that as though it's a subjective thing. It's objectively better.
Yes, it is. It just is. I think it's in the Constitution.
Probably somewhere in there. If not, it should be.
My roommate introduced me to cookie butter this year. I didn't know about it previously, but it is good.
That's a good friend right there.
Yeah.
Good friend.
Apparently.
You don't do toast.
I don't do toast that much at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, she cooks some mean scrambled eggs, but she doesn't do a whole lot of toast.
No.
We do peanut butter and Nutella on toast, and it tastes like peanut butter cups. It's great. And we do Vegemite on toast.
No,
Does not taste like peanut butter cups.
it does not. I can verify that.
Scarlett,
well.
did you have you try it too?
Well, he made me smell it, and, well, he left it in the kitchen, which then caused me to smell it, and I immediately went upstairs. I did not eat it. I can tell you that.
It doesn't smell great.
No. Doesn't taste great. Just there. It's just.
It's like you saw how small that jar is. The jar is like this big by this big, right? That little jar will last as long as like a jar of peanut butter. So it's you really don't use much at a time. Although,
Yeah,
from what Ron tells me, it might last longer.
yeah, well, I can tell you that it didn't last long in our house. So, they got mailed off to someone very quickly. So,
Kids loved it. I think I think we're on jar number 3 since then.
wow.
Let's see. What's your? Would you ever live out of a Volkswagen Westphalia?
Any idea what a Volkswagen Westphalia is?
No, there's a town in Michigan called Westphalia. Always make fun of it. I imagine it's one of the big buses.
Well, I am going to verify real quick. All right, this appears to be a Volkswagen Westphalia.
Okay.
So, you know. So the question is, could I live out of one?
Yeah. Would you?
Would I? Not in my current family situation, because I'm not putting 3 kids in that.
Give me a knife and I can feel.
Yeah. She would probably kill her 2 brothers very quickly. But I could hang out in there for like a week at the beach or something like that if it was just me or me and the wife. I'd rather do a like a tiny house. I could I could I could
That would
work
be
a tiny
fun.
house.
That'd be fun.
It's hard to drive a tiny house though. They don't get good mileage. So
It's all the drag.
exactly, they're not aerodynamic at all. So,
Good show though.
how about you, Sydney? Could you live out of one of those little buses?
I don't know. Probably not right now. I think I agree with you. I could do it for a week vacation, but not long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I need a shower too. I mean, like not currently, but when I'm camping, I need a shower.
Yes.
I remember when we first got married, my wife and I spent the weekend with my sister camping, and we stayed in her camper while my sister and her husband stayed in a tent outside the camper. And so we had air conditioning, we had a TV, we had a queen size bed, and my wife rolled over to me. She says, "I love you, but I'm not going to do this again. This is as close to camping as I get." So we have not done that again. So roughing it is a hotel room without HBO. Pretty much in her mind.
I would live out of one of those if I had to choose between that and homeless. Homeless isn't fun, but um, as far as like camping or something, I would much rather have a tent or even just a hammock. Um, I'm I've stayed in a camper with some friends in high school, and I didn't enjoy that either. I'm just fine being away from things. I'm just fine sleeping outside. My kids love it. They they've been itching this week since the night times have gotten warmer now. Like, hey, can we go put up a tent in the yard at least and go sleep out there? Yeah. So
Now, how warm are
I'm
the nights
sure
out there?
60 right now.
That's not bad.
It's quite warm for. Um, I could tell you, it's 81 right now. No, it's not. It's 73 right now. My phone didn't update.
We're at 76. We got up to 90 today. We actually went swimming today.
Wow. We're going down to 68 tonight from 3 to 7
Close to
a.m.
close to where we'll go.
But we are, I don't know if you can see this. We are, maybe not. Those all say 80.
Mm.
Okay.
With, we are at like 80 for the rest of the week, or for the rest of the next foreseeable future. I mean, it's 80 and thunderstorming, but we'll take it.
It's like a huge heat wave for you, isn't it?
It's this is what this is what summer usually does. So it's strange for in May, but I don't know. We it'll stay like this off and on for a while. We just happen to be in a small range in the state where it rains a lot, but it's fun and we like it, and it means that we can do a lot of water balloon fights, which will be coming up very soon. What's your favorite major U.S. city?
You go first.
Um,
Orlando, you've been
yeah, I would say Orlando.
to. DC, you've been to.
I would probably say Orlando just because that is where the Harry Potter theme park is. That is where the Disney theme park is. I love both of those, so I'd have to say Orlando.
Disclaimer: she's never been to the Harry Potter theme park. That's on faith, but I imagine she would really enjoy it. Mine is DC. I love DC. I go to DC as often as possible. Just a great place. How about you, Sydney?
I think mine would be San Francisco. I've only visited once, but I loved when we went. Just checking out sort of natural attractions in the area, going to Muir Woods. It's a really neat experience. So I'd have to go with San Francisco. And Scarlett, actually, I have been to the Harry Potter theme park, and it's pretty fun.
Hopefully, there's a slim chance that we might be going next year. And when they told me about this slim chance, it sadly we were in a car, so it might have been a better idea to wait till I got home.
Yeah, there's a little bit of screaming that she did. But she had to sacrifice her Orlando trip this year so that I could go to Mexico. So, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
I did not get an option.
What else?
Well, you didn't tell us your city.
Oh, I haven't been to too many U.S. cities. We go to Chicago a lot, and Chicago is a lot of fun, but I haven't been to D.C. I've only been to Orlando once, and it wasn't a good experience. It didn't have much to do with anything. It just wasn't a good experience. Um, so that wouldn't have been. I don't know. You've been to more places. What's your favorite U.S. city? We're gonna go with Chicago.
Okay. Done. Chicago it is.
There's a bit of a proximity thing with it too, and we gain an hour going that way because they're in a different time zone than us. So it's really nice from start time to finish time. You're like, it's not a very long drive, and with an hour knocked off of the drive time effectively, that means you don't have to get up real early to go for a day trip. And when you come back, it's super late, or you get that hour back, so it's later when we get back, and the kids are asleep in the car on the way back, and it's a perfect day trip. They also have a lot of really cool like free things you can do. I mean, there's the city, and you can do all that, but you can do like there's the Lincoln Park Zoo is free, and that was cool to go to for a day. There's a conservatory that we've been to. What's that? Garfield Park Conservatory that we've been to a couple times, and that's a free conservatory. Um, and the parking there is free too. So if you drive down, you can just park there and whatever, and there's a station right there, so you can get around the city.
Okay, for those of us that don't really do nature, conservatory, that's a bird place. Is that right?
It's no, this is plants.
Plants.
Yep. It sounds like it would
Still
be.
nature. Okay.
Yeah, still naturey stuff. It sounds like it wouldn't be very exciting, but somehow or other, the first time we went was 4 years ago, and so we had at the time, 1-year-old and 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old, and they were thoroughly entertained for hours. And so we tried this year again, and we thought, well, we're going to see how this goes. So this year, with a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, and 6-year-old, they were again entertained for hours. So I'm not sure what it is. I mean, like as adults, it's this nice serene place. The air feels really clean. It feels good being there. But for the kids, I didn't immediately see what the draw would be for that long. But it works. and it works really well. Uh, you've just won tickets to see any band or artist, deceased, broken up, current, all count. Who do you see and why?
I was thinking about that. I would probably go with Elvis or Michael Jackson, simply to say that I've done it. I don't really have any desire to go see him. Um, while in Mexico last week, we went and saw um, Pedro Jackson, which was a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Awesome.
It was an experience, shall we say, to see he, from where we were, he had Michael Jackson hair and had like the big chin like the later Michael Jackson did, but he was definitely not Michael Jackson. But he did a decent job dancing, so kind of feel like I've got enough of Michael. So I'm gonna go with Elvis. I haven't seen a good Elvis impersonator, so turns out I haven't seen a good Michael Jackson impersonator either. But we'll go with Elvis.
I would honestly probably go with Elvis too, just to have bragging rights. It sounds like he would have put on a good show.
Mm-hmm.
So probably Elvis.
I think I'd have to go with the Beatles, even though I think they're overrated. Just to be a part of that, to feel what that hype was like, all of that stuff. Just to be able to say I did it.
Yeah, yeah, the Beatles would have been fun. Jimi Hendrix?
Mm.
Can I do that? Can I go back and see Jimi Hendrix?
Let's just go back to Woods. Let's just go ahead and hit the whole.
Look, we can take care of that and the music festival thing at the same time. We're multitasking.
True. There you go. That'd be perfect.
Who would you go see, honey? Oh, yeah, you win.
Who'd she say?
Itzhak Perlman?
Oh,
That
she went all classical on us.
she did,
I'm a classy lady.
because she's a classy lady.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
You too.
Thank you.
So, opinions on the bass guitar.
I'm a big fan of the bass guitar. Big fan. It is a very underappreciated instrument, and without it, the whole thing falls apart. As someone who sings on stage, um, if the bass player isn't there or if he's off, throws the entire rest of the band off. So I think Jenna plays bass. Um, bass player doesn't get the chicks, doesn't get all the great solos, but a good bass player can make or break a band. My opinion.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. I appreciate it. I don't think there's any musical instrument I actively dislike, except for maybe the harmonica. My patience for that is pretty low, but otherwise, anything's good with me.
We have less of a fondness here for the French horn than other instruments. But no, bass guitar is good. Given the choice between a bass guitar and a like an upright bass, I would choose the bass versus the bass guitar. But I guess that's context too. It wouldn't work so well in a lot of situations. But yeah, I think the bass guitar is great. Um, let's see, ketchup or egg?
Ketchup on eggs.
Ketchup. Why would you do that? No, not a fan.
I guess need your answer.
Well, I really read that as ketchup or eggs, and I thought, well, eggs. Like on a burger, you put a good, nice fried egg on a burger. That's much better than ketchup. No, ketchup on eggs. No, no. My answer is no. How about you?
I've never been a fan of ketchup on eggs. I'm more of an
No.
egg purist.
Yes.
You'd get upset if you like fixed me eggs
I know.
and I threw ketchup on them.
God, why would you do that?
Don't know.
See?
Maybe the next time you fix eggs, we'll try it.
You can try it.
In honor of Jenna. Oh no, we try things. We'll try it. We'll try it. So next time she's on, we'll have her fix some eggs before we come on, and I'll try eggs with ketchup because it's evidently what I do.
Yes.
So we'll try that.
Good plan. I don't really like eggs or ketchup, so I'm gonna pass on the combination.
Well, you never know. It
Yeah.
may be the best thing ever.
Could be.
How do you feel about ketchup on hash browns? Well, I mean, Sydney, you said you don't like ketchup, so
Mhm.
I would imagine that takes care of your answer.
Yes.
For me, I prefer syrup on hash browns. That's how I gained 15 pounds at NC State my first year.
Hey, there you go.
First breakfast, and then there was second breakfast, and second breakfast was always in the dining hall with hash browns.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly just like my hash browns as hash browns with nothing else. So honestly, I think ketchup goes with a few meats and maybe a few other things, but not breakfast foods.
Now, I will
Exactly.
say, if I have my hash browns at Chick-fil-A, they do go in ketchup. I just thought of that.
Yes.
So I'm not like anti-ketchup on hash browns. Not like Sydney is anti the harmonica, evidently.
Yes.
But if given the preference, I would prefer syrup as to ketchup.
I think ketchup has no business being near my breakfast food at all. I think I don't think I've had deliberately syrup on hash browns. Like it's gotten on the fringes and there's that. Um, but I think the best thing for
I'm specifically talking like the little round hash browns, not like a big mound of hash browns.
I don't understand.
You don't understand? Okay, so there are different types of hash browns, right? You can go to McDonald's and get the hash brown cake. It's like a hockey puck, basically.
Mhm.
Chick-fil-A, she likes them. I'm not a fan. Chick-fil-A has the small little round hash browns. But you go to a diner or something, and they're just going to throw a big mound of hash browns on your plate. I wouldn't
Or if you come to our house.
Do I? Yeah, yeah. So that's
If you
probably
come to our house, you get the big mound of hash browns too.
right. So depending on the type of hash brown, that's what I would how I would decide what to go with it. Now, do you have a Chick-fil-A close to you?
Is there a Chick-fil-A close by? Yeah. No.
No.
There's a rumor that there's one opening up sometime, but I don't know. Julie's first time having Chick-fil-A was when she was with Ima.
Mm. Well, that makes me sad for you because it is delicious. But maybe you'll move somewhere soon that has lots of Chick-fil-A's. Who knows? So, and if you do, you should have their hash browns because they're quite tasty.
Good to know. Um, for me, I think the only thing that I deliberately dip hash browns in is the yolk from my eggs,
Mm.
because I think that's delicious.
I get
I'm a big, what's that?
nothing.
I'm a big proponent of putting runny eggs on top of anything at all. Like uh, leftover mashed potatoes with runny
Oh,
eggs on top.
okay.
It sounds kind of crazy, but you do that, and then you crumble some bacon over top, and it's fantastic.
Have you ever had eggs Benedict?
Hmm.
I think I had it once. It's extremely difficult to make, and so my mother-in-law only made it once. But that I think you sprinkle those eggs on top of something. It was a long time ago.
I like eggs. My kids like eggs probably as much or more than I do, and that's the only downside to getting up and making breakfast. It's like for them, and they're young, but if they want breakfast and they get what they want, then it's at least a half dozen eggs every time for just them. And I don't know, it gets to be a lot really quickly.
Yeah, Sarah. When Sarah cooks eggs, 6, 8, 10 eggs.
If it's just me, I cook 2 or 3. But when
Hmm.
I remember one time, Nana, Pampa, and all them came over, and I asked, "So are we making 10 or 12 eggs?" And they looked at me weird, and Dad looked at him and said, "Well, this family will wolf down some eggs. I don't know about you guys, but we will eat some eggs." So.
Yeah, the 5 of us easily could put down 8 or 9 eggs,
Mhm.
mostly
Yeah,
scrambled.
they go really fast. We are at 11:15. I think if all of you are good with it, we can say that's probably good for tonight.
I'm good.
What do you think?
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for being on. Thank you those of you who are watching. And uh, if there's nothing else from anyone, then I think that'll do it. So
All right.
we'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.